Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Soul View. This is Cindy Kabika, and with me today is Shivani Ganell, Lorelei Robbins. Happy birthday to you! I want everybody to say happy birthday to her over on the side and below, and we can sing to her in just a moment here. And of course, also with us today is Ferris Poole, and the reason is because of the topic that we are going to be covering today. And with all of this. With this, the Kavanaugh and the Ford hearing that they had last week, a lot of people have been bringing up their stories about sexual abuse and physical abuse. And I have received so many emails. In fact, I didn't have the opportunity to share my story on the Soul View Facebook page because I was answering all of you. And I want to thank you for writing your stories in. I'm going to have a rant about that in just a moment. But before I start my rant about keeping that a safe place to share, Lorelei, I want you, the birthday girl, to go ahead and share the cosmic weather with all of us.
I'm going to do my ranting. So
okay.
the big news this week is on Friday at 3:05 p.m. Eastern Time, the planet Venus. Venus is the planet of love, relationships, creativity, pleasure, what we value, what we appreciate. And every 18 months, Venus appears to go backwards, to retrograde. And Venus is in Scorpio. So no accident that all this stuff is coming up, which we're going to be talking about. Well, Venus retrograde is an opportunity for all of us to regroup in terms of our own relationship to and with power, wherever it's been taken from us, wherever we may have usurped it from someone else. So very interesting timing of all of this, issues of other people's money, creativity. So there's really an opportunity also to heal at a very deep level in relationships. Old relationships, maybe with people that are dead, that aren't even here anymore, or people that we're not married to anymore. So that's really the big news. We're in a last quarter moon, which is letting go of what we don't need. Venus retrograde, especially for folks that have Taurus and Libra energy, very, very valuable time. As Ecclesiastes said, to everything there is a season. There's a time for every purpose under heaven. And the purpose under heaven with Venus retrograde is to heal and regenerate in relationship to everything and everyone.
So, question about that. Old relationships. Does that also mean relationships that we have with our story?
Oh, yes. Absolutely. Oh, yeah. Especially where we're stuck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. An old relationship to power too, where again, we may still be giving power over to something that happened to us and have not, accepted the gift of empowerment that perhaps can come from that.
And one of the things I want to talk today is giving over power to something and healing something. And I think that is there's a fine line there, I think, for a lot of people. Because what people are thinking, okay, I don't want to give my power over to it, so I'm going to ignore it or stuff it down inside. And I've talked about this before, when you stuff something inside, that dis-ease causes disease over time. And we do not want you to do that, everybody. We want you to get it out into the sunlight so that you can put a different light on it. And then you can move past it and not give power to it, but from a conscious place and not a stuffing place. Does that make sense?
Totally.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. So I do want to say that. And Shivani, this is, you have a lot of information that you're going to be sharing tonight too, that you said that you looked at what's going on with the brain when somebody suffers through abuse. And so I'm looking forward to hearing that. And then also Ferris is here because he also suffered from abuse. And I want to say that there are 4 women, 3 that live here, 1 that used to live here. And Ferris, we have all had abuse. We've all, statistically it's 1 in 3 women, 1 in 6 men. The false allegations are 2 to 10% are false. 2 to 10, depending on, whose stats you're looking at, but the top is 10%. So that means 90% of people, it is accurate. And that's one of the things that we're going to be talking about today, and how to heal from that. And one of the ways to do that is to rant. So I'm going to start with the rant. And by the way, I want to apologize to our Facebook folks. For some reason, it didn't go online right away. It took a moment. And it didn't come up on Facebook. So for those of you who were there waiting, this is the Soul View. And today we're going to be talking about how to heal if you've suffered any kind of abuse, whether it's abuse in the workplace, if it's sexual abuse, if it's physical abuse, emotional abuse. Abuse is abuse. And, a lot of abuse of power, we see that today. One of the things that I want to talk about is our Facebook page. It is called, it's Facebook, The Soul View, and it's a community page. It is a private page, and it should be a safe page for everybody. And for those of you who did step up and share your stories, I really appreciate that. But people questioned whether or not it was a safe place because someone stepped in and tried to make it political. We are not here to debate politics. We are talking about abuse because abuse is bipartisan. Let me repeat that. It's bipartisan. They're not just Democrats. They're not just Republicans. They're not just from other countries. It is widespread. So I really want to, remind you, please don't make this political. Let's stick to the facts of what's going on here, and the real topic at hand, because without us talking about it and being willing to step up to the plate and talk about these sensitive issues, we don't heal. We shove it back inside, and then these things continue. And so, that's my first rant. Do you guys want to contribute before I continue my rant? Because I have more.
So you're on a roll.
Go for it.
Go for it. Okay. All right. Well,
and besides, Cindy, I need to let this out because you've been killing me.
I have been. Some of my rants, and I've been taking notes all day. And again, before I do that, I just want to take a moment to say again, happy birthday to Lorelei and all of you. I know that it's not just Lorelei's birthday today. Some of you have written me to say that it's also your birthday or it's your birthday this month. So I want to say happy birthday to everybody, and let's all sing happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Lorelei. Happy birthday
to you.
Thank you so much. I'm honored. And I will receive that.
Great. And to all of you out there, happy birthday to all of you. Libras, and then at the end of the month, they will be Scorpios, right?
And it's like being pregnant, right? When you're pregnant, everybody's pregnant. I'm meeting more Libras now that I don't even know. In the chiropractor, it's that same thing. Buy a red car, everybody's got a red car.
Yeah. Isn't that wild? We have a dog that's Dalmatian and Bull Terrier mix, and everywhere we go, we're seeing Dalmatians and Bull Terriers. So same thing,
Is that is that his combination?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and Boxer. So it's
wow.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
But the Dalmatian is really seems to be prominent. So anyway, by the way, quick announcement before I get into the next part of my rant. Danielle McKinnon is going to be joining us on the 10th, and we're going to be talking about animals, and she is an amazing animal psychic and healer, so please join us for that show.
She is so cool.
She is amazing. She's amazing, and I can't wait to have her tell us about our different animals. So she's going to be doing readings on our different animals. That's going to be super cool. So back to my rants. And these are rants that are not just mine. They're ones that I have heard from many people out there, men and women alike. Remember, everyone, abuse doesn't just happen to women. It happens to, it happens to men. It happens to our animals. It happens all over the place. So the first thing I want to bring up is that when it comes to any kind of abuse, there's no time limit on how long you hurt from it. Because again, it is, there are layers of healing. You go through an initial healing where you can get past it and you can start functioning in your day. And then something else comes up and then you have to heal that. And that layer of that onion, layer after layer after layer, you begin to heal until you get to a place where, yes, you will still have things come up, but it won't be as severe. And then all of a sudden you'll find out that you don't have to give your power over to it, and that you can actually take it to a place, a conscious place of understanding. It's like losing someone. When you lose someone, you start thinking about them. It feels like yesterday. When you suffered through some kind of abuse, it feels like yesterday. It feels like this morning, and so time doesn't matter. And for people to say, oh, it was 35 years ago, that makes me pissed off when I hear people say that, because it doesn't matter. When I saw one of my family members collapse to her knees in everything that she's been reading online and saying, women being dissed and not believed, she collapsed to her knees crying. And that's been a while ago. That's been, how long has it been, Ferris? Has it been 10 years? I think like close to 10 years.
Yeah.
Maybe longer than that. And so it doesn't matter the time. It still is real today. So please respect that. Another thing that isn't considered by a lot of people that say, oh, it was 35 years ago, the effects that it has on someone's life. It changes you forever. For those of you who are listening, please, please, please write in and tell us, your story about how it changed you forever, because you can't go back. You can't fit back in that box that you were in, that pure box. It's such a pure understanding of when we were younger. So please know that, for anyone that has a story, it affected them. And some people say they're not believable because they're too wild now. Well, maybe their boundaries have been mowed down so badly that they couldn't find those edges of boundaries anymore. That's one of the first things, in my family member that I'm talking about, first thing that the doctor told me is she has no boundaries. She doesn't know boundaries because they've been all mowed down. So keep that in mind, please. So that's another rant. Another thing is, the Senate right now rushing through without looking for the facts. And I am not for 1 minute, I don't want anybody writing in to think that I believe that Kavanaugh is guilty, because I don't. I don't have enough facts to make that assumption. So please know I'm not saying that. What I am saying is that Dr. Ford is absolutely believable. Something happened to her. She was abused. Now, whether or not it was Kavanaugh, I would like to see more, just like everybody. This rushing through without looking for the facts takes me right back to my own personal abuse. When I was beat and my jaw broken, and the cops said to me, "You're not going to make me take him to Saginaw, are you? What did you do to deserve it anyway?" That's what they're saying when they say, we're just going to rush this through and, there's not enough facts. That was so long ago, and they're discounting all of that. That's another one of my rants that makes me absolutely angry. Don't rush this. Let's gather the facts and find out what really happened. So with that, if his name needs to be cleared, let's clear his name. If he has done these things, we need to know that, because this is the highest court of the land. We need somebody in there that is impeccable, or at least as good as they can be for that office. And I have more, but I'm going to just say briefly, there are people that told me that the abuse that they suffered was one thing, but it was being believed by their family, by their family member that once they told them, they left the person and then went back to them. It was like a slap in the face. There's people that that were told by the church that they were now tainted and evil, that nobody would want them, and that that they were dirty. And let me see here, some of the other ones. They blamed you, just like I was blamed. That actually was quite prevalent in the emails and the texts, the private messages that I got from our community, that they were blamed, their family blamed them. And then the other one, and Lorelei, I want you to talk about this because you found an article about fathers where young ladies don't want to tell their fathers. So do you want to go ahead and share that with everyone?
Well, my sister actually found it, and thank you, Kathy, and sent it to me. And it's really about, and the beauty of this is that it's opening up that conversation, but daughters who have not shared these kinds of experiences with their fathers, for number one, not wanting to cause the parent pain is one motivation. Another is the shame or the perceived shame of it. They'll see me differently, etc. And so, going around with this as opposed to being able to share in a safe space. And of course, what's happening is it's opening doors for people to do this now. But when you think about it, the very male that would protect a child would be their father. And some fathers did, and some fathers may have abused that power for sure. But the not wanting to share, to tell the father for all these variety of reasons. But what struck me so much about it was wanting to avoid the pain that the parent would feel, of not being able to help them or not being, so adding the burden of after, not only the experience of that, but then the energy of trying to protect one's father from what has occurred. So yeah, but again, what's so beautiful now is it's opening up. It's like people are giving themselves permission, and that's a good thing.
Mm-hmm. And I agree with that.
I have a friend, and I mean, amazing. Just a year ago, she actually went to a personal development course all about leadership. And as she was working on her sexual trauma, the guy who was like one of the coaches approached her and kissed her.
Oh, jeez.
Oh my God.
And yeah, and when she actually complained to the woman who is the CEO of the company, the very first thing that she said was, maybe you were flirtatious. Yeah. And it took her a year. Like now she had another conversation and she got refunded, and she said, if I ever know that this guy is still on your staff, I'm going to report you. But it took a lot of force for her, and also, become really strong that no, I didn't do anything wrong. And it comes from a woman, and some of us are so entrenched in the male system. Yeah, well, it's like, you would have been flirtatious, so why would he kiss you otherwise? It's your fault, right?
Yeah. And women are always blamed. I mean, that's why the story of Adam and Eve. Got to have somebody to blame. and the woman since Adam and Eve has been blamed. So, yeah. That's where the men come from. Well, there's Ferris. Love to know your take on that. I'm just going to go right to you.
I see a couple of parallels here. The one is, the woman always gets blamed, but not just in sexual abuse. We tend to blame the victim for everything in any kind of situation. Mm-hmm. And often the victims blame themselves. I've been robbed at gunpoint twice. Mm. Both times I blame myself to some degree.
Why did you put yourself in that situation?
Yeah, why did I put myself in that situation? Why wasn't I paying attention? But then it's magnified when it comes to sexual abuse. And with our children, when our children get into any kind of situation like a dangerous situation, we tend to blame them.
Yeah.
And I think that comes out of fear.
That's what I think too.
Yeah. If we can get it off us, then we don't have to feel it.
Well, and just fear for your child.
Mm.
Translates into anger.
Yeah. A couple of teenagers in a car wreck, and the passenger's parents blame that child, even though the passenger wasn't driving.
Yeah.
We do that, and we all do that, at least to some degree or another.
And I remember the first time I ever spanked my daughter. She ran out into traffic, and I grabbed a hold of her and I just spanked her all the way up to you could have got yourself killed. And I broke down crying, realized that my reaction was from my fear. That was the first time that I'd ever had a reaction like that in my whole life. And I didn't know where it even came from. But I could have lost her in that moment. And the car screeched, just put on the brakes so he didn't hit her, and it scared me half to death. And it's fear. That's exactly where that comes from.
And I just saw, oh God, I'm going to butcher your name, I know. Foresta.
Yeah.
I got to look up how to pronounce that because that's a cool name. Wants to know if I feel it's possible that men are conditioned not to trust women or women's feelings. And yeah, I think so. For have worldwide been mostly a patriarchal society, cultures. And like you said, Cindy, poor Eve, she got a shitty deal.
Yep. She got a bad rap.
Yeah.
Those apples were rotten.
And I also want to say, in another one of my rants was about the president of the United States the other day, warning young men about women that'll take away their whole credibility with false claims. I thought that was extraordinarily inappropriate. I don't care what side you're on, that was inappropriate, and mocking Dr. Ford.
Mm-hmm.
Inappropriate. And I don't care who you are. I don't care what side. It's inappropriate, period. It's not funny. It's not a cheering point. It is not appropriate. My rant. It won't be the last one today.
something just occurred to me that I think is relevant here. I'm not so sure that the blaming the victim is just a male thing. Okay? Because wait. I can remember when if there was a disagreement between a black person and a white person, the black person was wrong. Always.
Oh, so you're talking about race also.
Yes, race also. So what I'm talking about is whoever is perceived to be on top is going to blame everybody else. So if we were in a matriarchal society, we would probably still have the same issue, just in reverse. So what we need to do is we need to learn that just because you're on top doesn't make you right.
Very true.
Yeah, that's an ego thing.
Yeah, it is. It's, Eckhart Tolle, you got to let go of that egoic self.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully we're in a time when we're moving in that direction.
Well, that's what we talked about last week when we talked about the divine feminine. This is the time to start healing that, and not to take over the world, but
to balance the
world. For a while, it's going to go way to the other side, because that's what happens. Just like spinning out of control in your car, you overcorrect.
Yep.
Well, it overcorrects, and then you find that balance, and that's what we need.
The pendulum.
Yeah, pendulum swinging, but the time of just old white men being in charge of everything. I'm sorry. I'm so over that.
I finally get to be an old white man, and you want to take it away.
But Ferris, I'm in charge. Because he wants me to be, not necessarily because I want to be. He's like, well, what do you think? You do it. So, I love it.
Let me share what other people have written in.
Okay.
So we have Michelle. She says, I had multiple traumas, abuses starting in early childhood, and I had managed to repress a lot of it for years. And yes, I'm now 52 and still peeling layers, still in therapy and EMDR and alternative therapies. And then we have Chris. There's probably not a female over 30 that has not been a victim of sexual harassment, usually more if they were in a traditional man's field. The Me Too revolution is a strong statement that power, control, and soul-crushing abuse of as many women as possible is no longer to be considered a perk or symbol of success, like getting the corner office. The Catholic scandal raises awareness that boys as well as girls are vulnerable to such parental and authority figures. The horrifying popularity of porn and sex trade reminds us that much more needs to be done to pray for and contain those who confuse power and control with love and disregard for the preciousness of each soul. And to be sure each abused person gets the apology from the more aware society and a clear message: it was not your fault and it's not to be tolerated. Well written.
Very well written.
She said something that this one last thing here, to be sure that each abused person gets the apology from the more aware society.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I just dearly love that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's not unlike any.
You won't get it necessarily from the perpetrator, right?
Yeah.
No, but that's not unlike any relationship between any two people. The more conscious person has a great.
But she's talking about the apology from the society.
Right. Well, okay. Well, we're all part of it, right?
Because we set them up for it.
Right. Right.
One of the things that I want to bring up and that she said in there, you know, that it's not just little girls or women, it's boys and men. You know, Ferris went through that. And my husband, who is in corporate America, when he first started in, he's an accountant. And when he first started in this one office, he was harassed every single day. It was brand new to the community. And this guy every day said, you got laid yet? You got laid yet? And every day he harassed him and said, you need to get out. You need to get yourself laid. And he said it was harassment. And he said he finally left the job over it. He couldn't even do the job. He said, I did a horrible job because every day he was harassed about that. That's still abuse.
Absolutely.
That's abuse.
Yes.
The verbal or physical is still abuse.
Yeah.
Even,
And you know, that's not the kind of guy Gary is.
Right. I just find it so interesting that all of this is coming up from a timing perspective. Right at the end, you know, we have another month of Jupiter, the planet of understanding and growth and expansion in Scorpio, which is what we're talking about. We're talking about power, the misuse of it, the right use of it. And, you know, at the end of a cycle, often things present themselves that we still need to learn. So when I look at it that way, and then Venus retrograding in Scorpio, and here we're looking at these issues of power and abuse of it, it's pretty fascinating how the cosmos is, in my opinion, cooperating with this collective healing. And what you said last week, Ferris, which I've used a number of times, the healing crisis.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what's going on right now, is there's a healing crisis throughout the country. Even what's going on in governments all over the world, that's part of the healing crisis. You know, and we're healing in all kinds of ways.
Yeah.
You know, right now, just at the top of the pile of all the different things that we need to heal happens to be, you know, sexual abuse. And,
I have a question for
and
you.
physical abuse, because the people that I heard from, and I'm
Yeah.
not going to read names here, many of them wanted this to be private. And again, I just want to say, please, if you go to our Facebook page, please do not make this political. It needs to be a safe place. All of these people, and they're all women, by the way, that I heard from, just happens to be that. But I want them to be able to interact with each other. And because of somebody stepping in and trying to make it political, they didn't get that opportunity. And so please, please don't make this political.
And otherwise, you can remove the post.
I have
I removed the
it was.
post and the person. I actually
Yeah.
took him out of our.
Now, I have a question.
Mhm.
We have all of these men coming forward now, finally, that were abused by Catholic priests. Why hasn't anyone said, well, why didn't you call the police then?
Oh.
Good point.
Yeah.
I mean,
And they were believed, right?
Oh.
Yeah.
Gosh. I
Mhm.
I didn't even consider that, Ferris. That's an excellent point.
Mm.
Yeah, and no
But
one's
it-
beating up on them over it.
Yeah.
Women, again, it's the shame. It's, I shouldn't have been there anyway. I was only 16 or 15. I shouldn't have been there. I had a beer and I was underage and I shouldn't have drank. So there's a lot of reason people don't report it. I was in the wrong place. And so therefore I felt like it was my fault. I called, I put myself in these circumstances. Wrong is wrong.
and in this
that kind of abuse.
In this healing crisis that we're talking about, there's really an opportunity for anyone now to transform their story about what happened, not to, again, be insensitive to anything that anyone has experienced, but everybody gets a chance to look at how much that story may still be running you. That story may still be, that happened whenever it happened, last week or 35 years ago, and if that's running you now. So to me, there's a tremendous opportunity for self-empowerment in all of this, with being sensitive to what occurred, but also taking sort of like the gold in that and deciding, because we each have choice over that, deciding what story do I want to live out of now. And it may be the same one, and that's everybody's choice.
You just brought up one of my hot words, story. We keep hearing people say, you are not your story.
Simply not true.
And you are not your story, but your story is part of you.
Right.
Your story helped co-create you.
Yeah. Yeah. So don't discount your story.
No.
Don't pretend that it never existed. It's
And
important to you.
It is. And it's important to remember that, while you don't want it to define who you are in your life, it does influence who you are, because it puts a certain kind of energy in you, that causes you to grow in a way that you would not otherwise have.
And it helps you to be unique.
Yeah, it helps you to be very unique. And the other part of that, Lorelei, to what you were saying, is don't mistake that for the layers that come up time after time. Because for me, when Dr. Ford talked about the laughter, they were laughing as they walked away. For me, right away, I started thinking about, when I was beat unconscious. And just as I was being beat unconscious, I could see this family inside their house looking out the window and not coming out and helping me. And that's a snapshot, what I call a snapshot moment that lives with me. And and that's something else that was brought up that I have to heal. And I've already forgiven the person that did it. I was able to move past that and understand, he was an alcoholic, and he was a mean alcoholic, and he had blood sugar issue whenever he drank, and which made him very mean. So I made it my business to know all this stuff, but the people that I didn't forgive are the people like the cops, that blamed me. You know, the people watching from the house and not being willing to help me. And that's another level of the story that needs to be healed. So, you know, as it's peeled back, please just journal about it and say, okay, you know, how can I heal this? What can I do to understand why I'm still angry, you know, at these people when the perpetrator I was able to forgive? You know, that was an interesting question for me.
Did you forgive the perpetrator before you forgave yourself?
Yeah, probably. Probably.
Aren't we silly?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like we're the last person that we forgive when.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it'll keep going. The onion, you know, the layers of the onion will keep going until you get to that point. Yeah. So good.
I think when you talk about healing, that quite often we don't go deep enough. And I personally believe that actually a lot of issues are past life. Yeah, so when I look through the lens of the soul, and if we believe, hey, we do attract in some shape or form, again, there's no judgment at all. And of course, you're not doing that consciously, but there is something in the past life that is already vibrating. And then, yeah, you have the, you know, the trauma in this lifetime. Mm-hmm. And I think going really, really, yeah, that might have been 20 lifetimes ago. But once you really clear the root cause, yeah, because from what I understand is, say, who you are energetically, say, in the last life, this is how, from that vantage point, you're choosing your parents and whatever life lesson you decide to have. And then, of course, you shift and change. But it's quite often, yeah, it's past life. It's not like, yes, we need to heal this incident or incidents this lifetime. But I also believe there's been other karma created prior to that. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Absolutely, it makes sense. And know that, you know, my belief is karma can be cleared as easy as karmic debt paid. You know, to me, that is, you know, when I've had 22 broken bones. So I look at that and after the last one, and I said, okay, there's obviously some karma here, karmic debt paid. Mm-hmm. I am not going through this anymore. and I haven't had any more broken bones. So, you know, you can state that.
Okay, we have something for you. Kathy says, Cindy, you're mentioning President Trump mocking Dr. Ford days ago. Look at what he's done since yesterday, when his cover-up of all the millions he actually received came out in public via the New York Times. All he's been doing is ranting more about Dr. Ford, same way he has continued to scapegoat Hillary Clinton. Trump definitely has issues with women, especially powerful women.
Yeah, I would believe that to be true.
Yeah, I'm sure he's had a few lifetimes of being a powerful women in another lifetime.
Yeah. And I think that's a very good point, is that he's throwing up some smoke screens. You know, he's got some smoke bombs that he's to divert attention away from the bad press. So I'm sure that's why all this stuff. Somebody was saying that it was strategic. I don't think it was strategic. I think trying to get it away from that story is probably strategic. The pain, you know, doesn't take away the pain of what he did. It's inappropriate, and it disses every person out there that's been through some kind of abuse. And that should never happen from anyone in power, ever. They should be our role models.
I agree.
And we need to take that very, very seriously.
Yeah.
So I would like to, do you think that we should do a meditation, or do you think we should tap? I'm thinking tapping.
Okay. Go
Because,
for it.
you know, there's all these emotions and very emotionally felt, heartfelt letters that I've received or messages that I've received from people. And again, I want to thank you and continue to send them. If you don't feel comfortable posting them in our private community, please do continue to write me in Messenger. Because I do go and I read all of them. As you know, I've been responding to everybody to the point, as I said, I wasn't able to put my own story up because I've been responding to people, and really some just tough stories. I mean, really hard, where I've just broke down crying afterwards because it just, I really felt what you were going through. So please continue to share them, and know that, you know, the first step in healing is the rant. Get it out. Get your feelings out. Feel what you feel. Get it out of your body. And then when you're done, you go, oh, that feels better. I remember the first time, you know, when this family member was abused and we found out about it. And my husband and I got in the car and I said, we need to just scream. And he goes, I can't do that. And I said, yes, Gary, you can. We just need to scream. No, I don't. I've never done that before. And I made him scream, and I started screaming, and he just started screaming, and tears started falling. And then when we were done, he said, can we do it again? And that's big. That's big for Gary. Yeah. That's big for Gary, who is very quiet. And so, you know, please get it out of your body. And he felt so much better.
Yeah. You can hit a cushion, you can scream into a cushion, like you need to get it out of your body.
Right.
That's the first thing.
Well, you know, and in radical forgiveness, the first step of radical forgiveness is tell the story and have it witnessed, which means be the victim. When you're telling the story, be as victim, I mean, as you felt it or as you're feeling it in the moment, because by telling the story and then feeling the feelings, that's what helps clear it and collapse the story to create a new one.
And that's the reason that when you tap, you want to first bring up the negative emotions and whatever happened. So we're going to start with the karate point. Here is where I like to start, because sometimes I will just be pissed off. So whatever it is that you're feeling, I cannot believe that SOB did this to me. I know it's been 35 years. I know it's been 10 years, 5 years, 2 years, 6 months ago, a day ago. But that person hurt me, and I deeply and completely still love and respect myself. I am so pissed off. Why did they do this? They changed me forever. And I did not want to be changed. I like me the way that I was. But now I am so angry and I no longer trust anybody. But I deeply and completely love and respect myself. I cannot believe that somebody did this to me. Why did they do this to me? Why was I their target? And I deeply and completely love and respect myself. I am angry that somebody did this to me. It was not fair. They changed me forever. I did not want to be changed. I liked me the way I was. They took away my innocence, my sense of who I was. I used to be so confident. I understood myself, and I no longer have that. They robbed that of me. They robbed that of me. I didn't deserve that. I didn't deserve that. But then my family didn't believe me. They didn't trust what I was saying was true. And that's like another insult to injury. And now is the time that I want to heal this. I want to heal this because it wasn't my fault. It wasn't my fault. Just because I chose to wear a cute little summer tank top doesn't give somebody permission to do this for me or to me. Just because they're a person of authority, they shouldn't have the right to do this to me. They have no right. I am angry that they have done this to me. It wasn't right. It wasn't fair. I know that eventually, I am going to understand from a soul perspective why I needed to go through this. But right now, I just want to be freaking pissed. I just want it out of my body because I'm angry. I am so angry. I'm ready to let this go. I am ready to let this go. I am angry. I felt like there was nobody there to save me and protect me. So I guess it's up to me. Will I ever be able to trust again? Can I ever trust authority? Will I always feel this anger? I don't want to feel this anger. I want to go back to being the person that I was. Because I really liked me. Can I get there? Can I get there? Can I be that person again? Does this have to interfere with every single relationship that I have? Can I just let that go? Can I just let that go? I can let that go. I can let that go. I know that over time, there will be a greater understanding of what happened. And right now, I just want to release the tears. I just want to release the pain and the hurt and the lack of trust. Because I'm worth it. Because my future children are worth it. Or the children that I have. Because I want to be the best parent that I can be. And with this pain, I know I can't be. I want to be the best partner to another person that I can be. But I know with this pain, I'm going to be looking for blame. I want to let that go. I want to let that all go. I'm ready. I am ready to let that go. I understand that there will be more layers. But for now, I love myself. It wasn't my fault. It wasn't my fault. And I look forward to the day that I can say, I forgive you. I forgive you. I forgive you. Everybody take a deep breath. If the tears flow, just let them flow. If you need to continue, please continue. We did 3 here. Give it a little bit of time. Go get some water, take a walk, move around a little bit, stretch. I don't suggest sitting still right now. I suggest moving, and then once you've moved around a little bit and get some of these stress hormones out of your body, then sit down and meditate and pray and clear this, because it's not your fault. We are all beautiful, loving beings. We've chosen to come to this world to have these experiences, even though we don't understand. And as Shivani said, this could be karma. This could be, in your Akashic records, something definitely you should look into to clear it.
You see it a lot.
Yes. Yeah. And you can continue that work.
Wow.
Thank you.
I just have to say, you can't make this shit up. Pardon my French, but I mean, Cindy, you're Pisces, you just channeled for everyone. And I just want to share with folks, whether that was your story or not, you can borrow the benefits of what Cindy just did. So I know I'm going to replay, because that way I won't be looking at the camera, what you did. And I would suggest for everyone to replay this, because there is tremendous healing in this. I mean, talk about divinely inspired. I bow to the master here. Seriously.
Of course I'm drawing on my own pain. Of course I am. But for all the people that I have on this page right here, I'm borrowing from theirs too, their story. And everything that I mentioned were things from their stories they have written me. And again, I want to thank you for your bravery. And, this is another layer. I want to also say, please contact Shivani, because we were talking about the Akashic Records. That's what she does. Lorelei can help you from an astrological point of view. So understanding your chart, and, please contact them both. If you want to do more tapping and other healing, you can contact me. I'm happy to do that as well. So each one of us, that's what we do. That's our business outside of this. So please contact us. We're here as resources for you.
And Ferris will take your picture.
Yeah.
Before and after.
Before and after.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's exactly it.
Or if you just need an old white guy
my
to
story
blame
and
you.
after my story.
Or if you just need an old white guy to blame you.
Ferris. Do we have any more questions or comments? And I'm going to look, or Ferris, can someone look on Facebook, because I can't pull up the whole thing always. I don't know why.
I always have trouble with that too.
Yeah, I don't know why it doesn't let me pull up the whole comments from people.
Cindy said it's like, Cindy Weber said it's like a punch in the gut for her to hear or see women friends disrespected, or to see them disrespect Dr. Ford and completely support Kavanaugh. She's completely believable, and it took me right back to my abuse. I don't remember the date, the bar in Florida I was taken from, etc., in 1982. Yeah, you know what? Some people, you were talking about snapshots, and some people, Trump, talk like, well, you should remember everything. Let me tell you what, just from another example, when you've got a gun pointed in your face, you don't remember the face of the person who was pointing it. You remember what the damn gun looked like.
That's
and it's no different. It's no different at all. You remember those little flashes of what scared you or hurt you the worst at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And anybody that says you should remember every bit of it is just an asshole.
Well, they've obviously never been through something like this, because you don't remember that. Again, it's snapshot moments.
Yeah.
Just like, the ones that I talked about.
Because basically your survival area in your brain takes over, and the amygdala, that's the part, records it, and you will only get snapshots or smells, and it looks disjumbled, but that's how you're processing it.
And that's in any kind of trauma.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And one of the biggest memories to this day, I cannot smell peppermint schnapps without everything flooding back. I can't, and this wasn't a one-time event. It was multiple events for 5 years.
Yeah.
And, I smell that smell, and that was the drink of choice, and it sends me off. So, a lot of things, smells, sights, colors, things like that, that bring them up. The 5 senses, 6 senses are actually completely involved. Yeah. So any other comments? And Ferris, were you able to bring up the others on Facebook?
That was it. Foresta here just asked a really good question. How do we talk to our partners about this? I talked to my wife about it. And later it came back to bite me in the ass.
But that won't happen to everyone.
That won't happen to everyone. I guess I should explain a little bit. After our divorce and she remarried, her new husband accused me of sexually abusing our son. And it was that old thing of, because I was sexually abused, then I was going to be a sexual abuser. So I've got it from both ends of the spectrum, both being a victim and being a victim of false accusation. So I can sympathize
with people that are falsely
with people that are in any situation, either situation.
And one thing that I would like to bring up about that circumstance, Ferris and I, we've been together 26 years, and he was estranged from his son because his wife went into hiding for a while with his son. I think she was very embarrassed about everything that happened and very uncomfortable about it.
She found out that it was the current husband that was behind the whole thing, and so she went into hiding from him.
Right. And for 10 years, Ferris was not able to see his son. So when that kind of stuff, when that false accusation happens, it affects more than that. And Ferris, his son, actually was afraid that his dad would be angry at him, that he wouldn't want him in his life anymore, because he contacted him when he was 18 and said, "I'm sorry, Dad," and now they're best buds. They talk every day, and
we don't talk every day. We only talk when he needs to fix something and doesn't know how to do it.
Oh, is that what it is? Okay, which is what.
Or lately when I need to fix something.
Yeah. So, and Ferris and I both, that we had that happen. Ferris and I both went through that where there was false accusation. So we know that it happens. Of course, it cleared up in about 15 minutes. Yeah, but it was something that could have been bad. And so, we're not saying that doesn't happen. Sometimes it does.
And sometimes Lorelei just disappears.
Yeah. Oh, she should be back in just a moment.
But she hasn't had the answer of how do you talk with your partner.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I want to go ahead and answer that if it's okay. I would like to. Mm-hmm. The more direct that you can be, you don't want to soft soap it. I think of it like a letter. People write letters, and then the point of the letter is the last thing they put in the letter. Well, the person isn't reading it anymore. So the first thing that you want to say is, "I want to talk to you about my own sexual abuse." And pause and let them process that.
I like that.
It happened a long time ago. And I understand now that it's coming between you and me. It's affecting our relationship. So it's time for us to talk about it.
I love that.
It's the more direct that you can be, the better. Don't soft soap it. And I think that's what happens. Well, this person kind of did this to me. No, they did this to you. Okay. Any others? Any other questions? Thank you for asking that question, because you won't be the only one.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure what happened to Lorelei. I was going to have her tell us what's coming up cosmically, but.
Yeah.
Apparently nothing.
Well, she's texting back and. So sorry, my computer was making an awful noise, and I think it was all the energy. Trying to get back on. She's trying to come back. Okay. Other comments, did you say?
Yeah, Chris says, check out the personality disorder of narcissism on YouTube. There are actually power who are incapable of feeling empathy and even maybe sadistic. The empathetic amongst us need to recognize and avoid these folks rather than trying to fix them or get them to apologize. Thank you for such a powerful and comprehensive healing.
Oh, yeah.
And Laura says, love your humor, Ferris. Thanks for your honesty. All of you very refreshing. Hey, Laura. It's one of my clients.
Oh, great, great.
And Akash, please don't eat the computer.
We heard him. He wanted to make himself known.
Right.
Yay, Laura.
There she is.
I'm sorry.
Back.
Happy birthday.
Can you hear me? Yeah, you can.
No.
hear me.
Yes, we can hear you.
You know what?
and
You know what happened? My computer made this scream, like it was almost like all this
it was
energy.
healing.
Yeah. Sorry.
It was healing.
Jeez, I've never heard that sound like that come from my computer.
Wow. Well, I think that it's time for us to wrap it up here. And please, everyone, leave comments over at the side on our Facebook page and on our YouTube channel. And by the way, I think it's about time that we switch to YouTube. Ferris and I are going to be talking about that a little later. And instead of on Facebook, I've been trying to send out notices to let people know about our show. And the reason that people haven't been on is because they're not getting the notices. They've changed their algorithms, and I don't understand algorithms from, calculus. So anyways, we may have to make that change. We've talked about that before. So please go ahead and put your comments in so that we can do this again. And if we need another call about this, we are more than happy to do that.
Next week, Danielle.
Yep, next week is Danielle, and so please join us for that. And we look forward to having you on. And I want to thank all of you for being here. And this has been just beautiful healing opportunity for us all. Until next time, I love you and namaste.
Namaste.
Namaste, and I send y'all light.
And love.